You are probably missing 4 secret methods to getting to superhuman strength. It's not just your muscles. There's other things that contribute. And believe me, when you focus on them, you're going to get stronger than ever. We're going to talk about them today.
Wow.
Ooh, I like secrets.
Yeah, I know. I'm listening to this one.
Yes.
Let me hear what you got.
Superhero serum stuff.
So strength, whenever people think about strength, especially in the fitness community, we tend to almost always, especially outside the fitness community, if you talk about strength, what makes you strong? Muscles. Muscles make you strong. Well, while there's truth to that, obviously your muscles are contracting, and that's what's making you stronger. There are other factors that play just as big a role, sometimes even bigger roles, than the muscles themselves. And if you figure them out and start to target them specifically with training, because you can actually target the ones we're going to talk about today with training, what you'll find is you're going to reach new levels of strength. Now, the strength athletes that know this the best historically, I would say, are Olympic lifters. There's been a lot of science in Olympic lifting, and they have figured out a lot of this stuff. Getting really strong isn't just about building big muscles. It has a lot to do with other things. For example, we'll talk about the first one, your central nervous system output. The central nervous system, I've used this analogy in the past. If you think of a speaker and an amplifier, if your speaker is big and powerful, but your amplifier is weak, you're not going to put out much sound. So your central nervous system is the amplifier. And in fact, oftentimes what's limiting your strength isn't necessarily the strength of your muscles, but rather your central nervous system hasn't been trained to put out the juice to get your body.
Well, you know what's
strong.
crazy is like, this is something that I don't think was discussed a lot. When I was growing up, I was always mystified by like your smaller guy that was like lean and was stronger than somebody that was like twice the size, like muscle mass wise. And I'm like, you know, there was some weird theories like, floating through my head, like how does that even work? And, the central nervous system and being able to recruit and summon that amount of force, like explains it beautifully.
Yeah, I think that this is one of my favorite things that Sal has said on this podcast. I think of the handful of things that we've all like probably taken from each other, and I have repeated that to so many people. And maybe it's maybe because I was a big speaker nut guy. That's why that analogy hits home for me so much.
Makes perfect sense.
Because I understand in that world, like the amplifier is where the real value is. But most people, I think about the speakers. Oh, how big are they? And it's like, dude, it doesn't matter. If your amp is weak, you could have the biggest, baddest looking speakers ever, but you're not going to get hardly anything out of them.
Your output
in fact,
sucks.
That is more important. And to your point, Justin, I think that's why that analogy hit so home for me, was that nobody ever talked about that. It was not, even my early years as a personal trainer, it wasn't communicated. It wasn't communicated hardly at all. It wasn't until much later did I really learn about that and understand the power and value of that. And then all of a sudden the aha light bulb moment happened when you meet people like Mike Salemi or like Jordan Syatt. I mean, God, I just went and interviewed with Jordan Syatt this last weekend, and I forget, bro, he is like, this is not a jab at you, Jordan, at all, but I mean, we took a picture together, and I'm like, he is like, he's half the size of me, half, and he out deadlifts me. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just crazy. And I'm not like the strongest guy at that, but I'm decently strong. Yeah, you're strong. Right, I'm decently strong.
But he's insanely strong.
He's insanely strong. And the fact,
Lifetime natural.
Yeah, and lifetime natural. Yeah. So it's unbelievable to me to think how much power the human body can generate, even out of a smaller frame like that. And that's a testament to somebody who is honed in and is reaping the max benefits of their CNS.
Yeah, your CNS. So you can train your CNS. There's ways, and we'll get to that. But they've done studies on this, and the average person's central nervous system will only allow the average person to generate something like 40 to 50% of their capacity. So it's limited. So think of the amplifier again.
Reasons.
Right, or think of a car. Think of a car with a rev limiter. Like it can go 200 miles an hour. My rev limiter stops me at 130. Many people have this rev limiter on their CNS because they don't train it properly. Now, they've done studies on Olympic lifters.
Now, wait. Before you say that, even I think I've seen the comparison of regular people, even very trained people, and then Olympic lifters.
Yes, I was just going to say this. Olympic lifters, they're the ones that have been shown to probably get estimated close to 90-something%.
As I say, I thought they were mid to high 90s. I think the most average person, or the person who lifts, is like 70,
That's
80.
right.
Like
That's
70,
right.
Like one of us would be 70 to 80.
And this is why you see these 160-pound Olympic lifters, throwing weights up in the
400
air.
or 500
Which
pounds
is
over their head.
it's just absolutely insane. And so the central nervous system is like, it is power and strength. So the question, of course, is how do I train my central nervous system? There's a few things that you could do. One, the data shows that heavy, moderate intensity, multiple set type lifts or lifting tends to do this well. So power lifters tend to train this way with specific lifts, right? So you're doing sets of 3 reps with something you could probably do 5 reps or 6 reps with. You're doing multiple sets. And what you're doing, you're training the central nervous system to get comfortable putting out strength and power. It's also skill, okay? When you're lifting something, it's not just muscles randomly contracting, it's muscles working in tandem in a coordinated effort to do a particular exercise. In other words, there's a skill to strength. There's a large amount of skill to strength. So this is why you could take someone who, let's say, is incredibly strong at a particular lift that uses the same muscles as another lifter doing a certain lift, but if they don't practice that specific lift, they're not going to be as strong. In other words, you can be great on the leg press, great on the hack squat. It's not going to necessarily translate 100% over to a barbell squat because of the skill component. That is your central nervous system organizing your muscles to work together. So another way to maximize central nervous system output for specific lifts is to practice those lifts, but practice them. Don't use them as exercises. In other words, if I want to get good at the overhead press,
minimize intensity.
That's it. There's going to be some days I'm going to train hard, but oftentimes I'm just practicing it. And I'm practicing it with a weight that I can normally handle, but I'm getting really good at the skill of that particular weight.
Another analogy or expression of that we see in real life is like professional sports, like the baseball player who can throw a ball at 106 miles an hour. But he doesn't have these jacked muscles to do that. Right. So what is it? It's his ability to organize all those muscles and together whip that ball at that high of a speed, and that's from the practice of doing that so many times.
That's right.
He's gotten so good at that. And so we see that at these very high levels of sports, but you can bring that into your everyday training. I mean, learning how to do that really well. And then again, now you reap the benefits of being able to lift really heavy weight.
That's right. And oftentimes when you do, like, people will follow like MAPS Anabolic phase 1, they'll talk about this. Like, oh my God, my strength went through the roof. A lot of that strength they see in that first phase is central nervous system adaptation. You go up 30 pounds, you'll build some muscle, but a lot of it is just your CNS is really learning how to turn up, because that phase 1 is a lot of this style of training. The other thing too is to get good sleep. Your central nervous system needs rest and sleep. By the way, this is probably why getting poor sleep is so closely connected to injury. Mm-hmm. Your central nervous system also helps prevent injury. And when things misfire or are not firing the way they should, this is when you get muscle tears and sprains. And getting poor sleep, it's like dampening or weakening your central nervous system. So really good sleep, really good rest is a recipe for a healthy, powerful central nervous system. And then finally, you can use stimulants. So this is why the data shows that caffeine will improve strength by 5 or 10% consistently. Muscles didn't grow. You just took a stimulant that ramped up your CNS a little bit. This is also why getting angry will make you stronger, right? Like
so heavy metal is amazing for lifting weights.
But you can also over fatigue your CNS, right? So you'll see this with sports. I remember when I did jiu-jitsu and I was competing, I remember having so much stamina in the gym training with my partners, and then going on a tournament, and 1 3-minute match gassed me out. And I couldn't figure it out. And I realized what it was is I was just too amped leading up to the match. I was amping myself the entire time. Then when I got there,
whole other skills to learn how to calm.
That's right. Yeah. My CNS was fried. Today's program giveaway is MAPS Anabolic. If you want to win, leave a comment below this video. In the first 24 hours that we drop it, subscribe to this channel, turn on notifications. If you win, we'll let you know in the comments section. We also have a 50% off sale. By the way, only 2 days left for it for this month. MAPS Split and the Anabolic Metabolism bundle of programs. All of that is 50% off right now, 2 days left. Head over to mapsfitnessproducts.com and then use the code July50 for that discount. Back to the show.
Well, this is also, I think, a good time or to bring up like how we teach trainers to modify intensity with clients. Like we, use the dynamometers.
Yeah.
That like basically are measuring their CNS, right? Like
That's exactly what that is.
How fatigued or not they are. And I think of all the tools that are out there, they're better than the HRV and all the sophisticated tracking that we have and apps and wearables that we have. Those things are great, but I think nothing is better than if you had a client and you tested every time you guys train and you found their baseline, what high and what low days look like. You now have this incredible gauge of right before you train that client, you have them squeeze and you're like, oh, Sal's running a little low today, so I'm going to back off my intensity.
Right.
Or, oh shit, Sal is squeezing at his max level right now. This is the day we're going to ramp up intensity. Not a lot of trainers do this. I remember when we first had DeFranco on, and I had heard him talk about it. I'm like, oh, nobody ever taught me that. I wish that was a tool I use. I mean, I'm always talking to our trainers in here, like trying to teach them, these are ways that you can separate yourself from your peers. It's incredibly intelligent way of coaching and training. It's very simple for you. I don't even know how expensive those things are. They're super cheap.
Yeah, they're not expensive.
And all you have to do is do it really consistent for like a week or two with your clients to
You have
get
your base.
to have some sort of a baseline. And then literally right before they come in, you have them squeeze that and you're like, okay, I know what. And then you modify intensity. Like
Builds
that's
in that self-awareness too with your client.
Yes.
I was running these with the students for when I was training them for football, and it was just like so enlightening because they would understand like where they were in terms of what they could organize and what they could get in terms of grip strength. And it's like, okay, well, based off of this, I'm outputting about half of what I did, the last week. So I'm going to have to kind of tailor my workouts a bit.
Yeah, not to go off on a tangent with that, but as experienced trainers, before we had objective tools like that, it takes a while, but you just learn your clients' mannerisms and energy.
Cues,
That's what it is.
cues,
So you have to learn.
them, you
But that took me 10 years.
Oh
to
yeah,
get good at.
and you're still kind of guessing.
I
right?
wish I had a dynamometer and knew how to use it.
It is, and I remember when Joe said that, a huge light bulb moment for me that I went, oh my God, how come
That's what
I
makes
never
him
did-
such a good coach.
Oh, 100%. And if you're a trainer and you're listening, you're always trying to find ways to separate yourself from your peers, of going above and beyond in your service business. What a great way to do that. If you don't own one of those and you haven't done this, that takes
Or
you
do it on yourself.
Yeah.
And do it on yourself. And then you could judge the intensity of your next workout. All right, next up is tendon strength. This does not get talked about enough. Your muscles attach to tendons. And if your tendons are not strong, you're not going to lift as much, period, end of story. And the analogy I like to use with this is like, imagine you have a 2,000 horsepower diesel truck, like, and you're going to pull something really heavy, but what you use to connect the truck to the thing you're going to tow with is a skinny string.
Say fishing line.
It ain't going anywhere. That power is doing nothing. Tendon strength is extremely, extremely important. And oftentimes the limiting factor, in fact, I would say more often than not, the limiting factor to somebody's strength is their tendon strength and not their muscle strength. So the question is, well, how do I get my tendons stronger? Doesn't just getting my muscle stronger strengthen my tendons? Yes, however, we have great data showing that specific types of training are more effective for tendon strength, and other types of training are more effective for muscle contraction strength. Muscle strength, traditional strength training. Tendon strength, 30-second isometrics. 30-second isometrics are exceptionally good at strengthening the tendons. They're safe. So what does that look like? Well, let's say you have a little patellar tendon pain or whatever in your knee. Well, what you would do is you'd get down on a squat with a weight that's about 70%, 80% of your max, and you'd hold it for 30 seconds. That's your set. That kind of training has been shown to improve tendon strength and hypertrophy more than traditional strength training. And how often do people do that kind of
How
training?
would you, not enough. And how would you size up something like kin stretch compared to what you just gave as an example of like loading it and holding it for 30 seconds versus doing like a kin stretch? Like,
So kin stretch would be more trying to connect to
Active
a movement.
connection, yeah.
still
building-
still isometric, still
versus-
connecting.
Yeah, but building tendon strength,
Overcoming
resistance.
load, yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
You're overcoming load.
Right.
Which also, here's the other one that's been shown in the data, super slow slow negatives.
Yeah.
So you get a heavy weight and you do a really slow negative with it. The tendons seem to strengthen better with that as well. And like I said, in fact, there was one study I looked up, and I believe it was an 8-week or 12 weeks, so not very long. They strengthened the patellar tendon with these isometrics and slow negatives by 15%.
Wow.
In that short period of time. Hey, I'm gonna tell you, listen, this is what's crazy about this. And I think this is why, one of the reasons why isometrics.
Oh, I geeked out with this stuff.
If you look on the data on isometrics, there is no form of strength training that produces as fast of results in strength
with the
gain
lowest risk
as isometrics.
Now
it's a relatively short window, so it's not like it doesn't keep working forever. Although when you combine it with traditional strength training, you stretch it out indefinitely, essentially. But in terms of short strength gains, like 8 weeks, isometrics are crazy, and I think this is part of it. I think part of it is it's getting, besides the central nervous system, because it does that well, is you are strengthening those tendons.
It's silly to me that it's not protocol to take somebody who's just learning, anything involved with like exercises, to not first have them go through isometrics, and also too with the rehabilitation process.
Yeah.
It should be like standard to start.
I mean, it is if you follow like a protocol like Kin Stretch. I mean, that's the philosophy that they operate from. They're like Kin stretching, connecting to all that in the isometric form, then it's load. You know what I'm saying? Like that's kind of the progression for them. This is funny because this is also one of those things that I think I did as a trainer, not really knowing all the reasons why it was so beneficial, but I found it was so valuable to take my clients for these incredibly slow negatives. And I just attributed it because nobody did. It was I share I share on the show all the time that, man, I see, I remember learning that like the ideal hypertrophy protocol was like a 4-2-2, right? 4 seconds on the negative. And I just would count people, and I'd be like, no one's doing this. But yet everybody says they want to build muscle, and yet that's kind of the protocol. Then I remember going like, well, what if I took it to the next level and go 6 or 8 seconds? Like, that's got to be good. And that's got to be even further from what most people are doing. And so it was really, and then I saw great gains muscle-wise. So this isn't just, tendon strength that you get. This also get the benefits of building muscle from this because of the novelty side of it. So such a huge benefit to incorporating this if you are, especially if you're a trainer, taking your clients through this type of stuff.
Totally. Next up is stability. If you lack stability in a joint, one of your arms, one of your legs, your core, then your body's only going to be able to exert so much strength or so much power. It's like trying to push something with a broomstick, except in the middle of the broomstick, you have a bunch of foam. It's gonna go everywhere, right? Stability is your joint's ability to stabilize and control the power and strength that you're trying to produce. This is why people's shoulders hurt when they bench past a certain weight, or when they overhead press a certain weight, or when they squat, their back hurts, or why their hip starts to bother them or their ankles hurt. They typically lack stability. Now, how do you train for stability? Well, correctional exercise is number one. Unilateral exercise is a great, I love, ever since we put out Map Symmetry, it's like a light bulb for me because correctional exercise requires a level of understanding of exercise. Like the average person doesn't really get correctional exercise. If you work with a good trainer, they know it. But, the average person...
You have to diagnose it to a certain degree.
Right. But if you just took the average person and put them through 3 months of Map Symmetry, which is just a bunch of unilateral exercises, they're going to get a great deal.
It solves it a lot of times.
It solves a lot of it. So it's that one-legged, one-arm type training.
It's the ability to resist all these external forces.
That's right.
So lateral, rotational, like a lot of things that are pulling you out of position. So and I like to always call it like anchoring. Like I like to anchor my body. This is like a lot of stability strength training is to just be able to, stay in that position with like these opposing forces.
Did you see what our buddy Ben Bruno was doing the other day with Clay Thompson?
No.
With the single arm dumbbell row? He had him doing in a single arm dumbbell row, and he kicked his back foot up on a bench on his toe.
Oh yeah,
and so he was having to stabilize his body, and he's rowing like 80 pound dumbbell, and he was talking about the progression of that. And it made me think about what has happened in our space with stability training. Unfortunately, when we were early years, it was extremely popular.
Circus training.
Then it got Then it got bastardized, right?
Yep.
We went too far, got ridiculous. We were doing stupid things. And then it turned into we threw it all out. Like, oh, this is stupid. We don't need to train this anymore. And so I love when I see really good professionals like Ben still incorporating it and incorporating it with the right people in the right setting for the right reasons, and like just incredible value to be able to do something like that, to stabilize, anchor your body like that while rowing on one side.
Another good thing for the average person that they could probably do is long holds while walking, overhead holds.
Yep.
holding things in a rack position, suitcase holds. The reason why you walk, by the way, and do these and not just stand, because standing still will give you some too. But the reason why you walk is it involves a little motion. It involves other muscles, so your body's having to learn how to communicate everything. And that motion, it gives you that stimulus to try to stabilize.
And it emulates real world scenarios.
That's right. That's right. And then training different planes. Like don't just, do lateral stuff and rotate in your strength training. Because if you get really strong moving in one direction and moving outside that direction doesn't catch up, what'll happen is you'll start to move like your body is trying to keep you in one direction. This is where you get that meathead walk or look that can happen. And it's because your body's like, we're only strong here and we're not strong outside of here. So we're going to keep you in this plane.
Fixed.
Motion.
I know this is a shameless plug, but for the average person that's listening to this or listens to a lot of episodes and hear us talking about all these things, like, oh my God, how do I incorporate this with it? Like, all of these things that we communicate were built into the entire MAPS philosophy. And so if you just went from like program to program to program to program like that, this all gets taken care of. Right. And that would all of it when you and one of the most popular questions we always get is like, how do you program? And it's always so hard to communicate in a 1-minute reel. How we program, but it's like all these things are taken into consideration. And the thought process always is like, if taking a client from base to and covering and hitting everything that we think is most important for them to build the ultimate healthy, strong, fit physique. What does that look like? Well, it looks like a year plus of running from one MAPS program to the next and going through all these types of phases that we talk about.
That's right. Last is speed, your ability for your muscles to contract with velocity. This is light load, fast lifts. This looks like plyometrics or throws. Now these are fast concentric lifts, so they're not fast negatives necessarily. There's definitely a place for that as well. But for most people, this is a fast concentric. So this would look like holding a weight in your arm and throwing it, right? Not necessarily bring it down and throwing it real fast. So you're looking at a jerky movement, or a bench press where you bring the bar down controlled and then you throw it up as hard as you can, or a jumping push-up or something like that. Speed contributes a lot to strength to the point where power lifters also do these days where they're training speed, even though their lifts are very slow, because that's not the name of the game for powerlifting. They'll practice it because they know it contributes to that grinding, slow strength as well. And then speed strength, this is athletic strength. Mm-hmm. Slow strength isn't as important when it comes to sports. It's how, although there is some benefit to that, it's like how fast can you be strong? That's what makes you dangerous.
Well, and you can really see too, like, how this affects that central nervous system recruitment. If you can get really good at acceleration and you can organize, that type of output like that quickly, that really stretches your capacity for generating more force even during strength exercises.
If I were to critique my own programming for myself, this is an area that I know I need to do more of, and I neglect. In fact, this was kind of top of mind for me because I know how much I neglect it, and I've been doing a lot of like around the pool workouts and stuff. We did a band one yesterday, Katrina and I was doing explosive push-ups in shallow water. So I
let a little bit of resistance.
Yes. Oh, yeah. So I go underwater and then I would explode out of that. It was like I got so sore, and obviously, indicator that I need more of that. And I'm just trying to be creative, like outside and around the pool. Like, what are these things I could do? And I'm like, you know what? I'm always talking about how I need to do more speed, explosive stuff. So I was doing these underwater like push-ups. No, I thought it was really cool actually to do it.
I actually trained like when I was trying to improve my 40 time and I was doing these combines like after college and was like thinking I was going to continue my career. I was like training with the track team over here at San Jose City College, and we were constantly running as fast as possible in the water with resistance. It was super difficult, and sweating and being wet at the same time was weird.
Oh, I'm so glad you said that, Justin. Sidebar. We have my buddy's fantasy football league is starting up in 2 weeks. And the way we determine the draft order is a 40-yard dash.
Oh, yeah, you told me.
And we're all a bunch of
47-year-old dudes.
Yeah, a bunch of old, out-of-shape dudes.
You got bulletproof those joints.
And I'm like,
you might be better off going slow because everyone's
No, here's what I'm like. What I'm so worried about is there's such a high expectation that I'm supposed to win. I'm the fitness trainer guy, and I'm terrified of to sprint that fast right now because I know I don't do enough of it. Ever since my Achilles, I've not done it, and I had all these tears and issues, and so I'm like, okay, if I were to do this, I've got a couple weeks. I mean, I know I'm not going to get the best version of me, but what would I do to do that? I'm like, pool sprinting would probably be a good.
Dang, that'd be a rad series. Too bad.
I know it's not long enough. It's not long enough. Maybe afterwards though, it'll like maybe when I get my ass kicked, it'll motivate me to do something like that.
That's
with
a whole
you.
process, dude.
But that's probably a really good base for me to start there. Because I was thinking like I can't just start even sprinting on the treadmill right now. I'm not even there.
No, I'd be pool and with a sled. I'd be starting to drive.
I'm totally
going
to do that. That didn't even cross my mind to use my pool like that until you just said that. I'm like, I'm going to do that because I was like, how do I ramp this up in 2 weeks without killing myself?
Back to the tendon strength. You just said Achilles. There was one study I read where they significantly strengthened their Achilles tendon of the subjects with a slow negative. There was just a slow, heavy negative going down, and they had really, really good thickening of the Achilles tendon. So anyway, I got to mention, we'll talk about protein for a second, protein powder. There is a protein that doesn't get talked about enough that is every bit as good as whey, and in some cases, I would even say better. And that's egg protein. You don't often hear.
Why did it fall out of favor? It used to be, it used to be super popular. I was going to ask you.
Because whey, I think it's because whey got a lot of the publicity.
Yeah, because it won the studies like barely.
Okay, so when it comes to protein quality, they're almost identical, as judged by branched amino acid concentration, essential amino acid, ratios, leucine. Like egg and whey are almost neck and neck. Whey edges it out just a bit with those things.
So why that's weird to me, Sal, is aren't there a higher rate of intolerances to whey than there would be egg? So you would think that egg would win because of that.
Yes. So egg is, for most people, they can digest it. A lot of people can't do dairy.
Right.
But there's a little bit of a difference between the two, which gives benefit, in my opinion, to egg, depending on what your goals are. Egg is a bit of a slower digesting one, and it doesn't cause the same insulin spike that whey does. So some people want the insulin spike. Some people don't want to have a protein that's going to give them a little bit of satiety. So whey will produce the least amount of satiety. So you'll take a shake, and it's like, because of how quickly it digests. Egg is going to produce a little bit more satiety. So somebody who's trying to not eat as much food, and they want a protein that'll satisfy them a little bit, egg is better on that. But as far as everything else is concerned, they're pretty much identical. Like egg is and now some researchers would call it the perfect
for the sulfur. Huh?
Some people would call it that's right. And some researchers say egg is actually the perfect protein, even better than
Didn't Legion just drop one?
They did.
I was just talking.
That's why I'm bringing it up, because I haven't used protein powder. I've used bone broth protein powder, but I've stayed away from. I can't have dairy. And then they came out with their egg protein. I'm like, you know what? Let me give this a shot.
Oh, you already tried it?
I've been using it.
Oh, how is it?
First off, it tastes amazing. It's actually really, really good tasting.
All his stuff tastes amazing.
But I mean, it's a very high quality protein. I can tell.
I was on the phone with him just last week, and I saw that they had dropped that. I haven't had it yet, but I was meaning to ask him, like, because they were. I think I told you guys, Legion set a goal at the beginning of the year. I hope I'm not speaking out of turn with Mike saying this. I think it's all good stuff, right? I think he set a goal of like 40 new SKUs in the year or something like that, which is a lot of new SKUs. So I've been watching like all the different
new
products. Yeah. And he's so heavily science based. And I saw the egg protein come out recently. I thought, I wonder what led him to go that pathway. And so interesting. So I didn't bring it up. I'm glad you brought it up.
Yeah, I mean, you look at the studies on egg protein for muscle building, recovery, the amino acid ratios, it's like it's by far
a staple for a long time.
Oh my God, egg and whey are essentially neck and neck when it comes to like amino acids. It's a slower digesting protein. I would make the case in some cases that's better, but again, I'm splitting hairs. But if you're somebody that can't do dairy, but you want like really high quality amino acid profile, go egg.
Well, yeah, instead of like vegetable options, right? Like a vegetarian.
Vegan source of protein can be another option, and they're okay for some people.
They're okay,
but they'll never be as good.
Sure it's less than
taste wise. They don't come close to egg and whey.
And even if
that's the problem.
Even forget taste, they're just not as high quality.
Yeah. I mean,
they're just not.
I know you say that because that's you, but it's like that's why most people buy stuff.
Yeah, they like the taste.
It's got to taste good, dude. Just if you're going to be consistent with it, it's got to taste. And granted, I mean, our companies that have vegan protein are really good. It's I think the best tasting vegan protein on the market, But if I got a choice, whey or egg
Well,
is
the
always better.
egg protein from Legion's got a really nice creamy like that.
Yeah, that's what I always like about. That's what I always like about egg is it creates like this kind of creamy.
It's got a nice texture. It tastes really
for
good.
like milkshakes.
My wife's been using it. She actually made coffee with it the other day, which is really good.
Okay.
Yeah, it's really good stuff. Anyway,
Cool.
I got to tell you guys on Friday. So I went up to Santa Cruz Athletic Club.
Oh, you checked it out. How'd you like it?
I saw you.
Sick gym.
I saw you doing 40 sets.
Hold on. So, I'll tell the story. I'll tell the story.
I can't wait to hear how this came about.
So Fridays, there's a day that I go and I lift, and we don't work Fridays, so it's a day that I can spend a little bit more time at a gym. You've been talking about Santa Cruz Athletic Club. Everybody's like, it's this amazing gym. It is, by the way.
It's rad, yeah.
Oh, bro, it's for whatever you want to do, but for bodybuilding, they have great machines there. So I'm like, I'm going to go work out Friday. I'm like, you know what? Let me invite Kyle. So I sent him a text. I'm like, you want to work out Friday? Go up to Santa Cruz Athletic Club. He said, let's go. So we met up there like 7:15 in the morning. And I was going to do my whole upper body. And because they have so much great equipment, we just went crazy, bro. We just kept going, you know? So we did set after set of all these different machines and stuff. Now Kyle, how old is Kyle? Kyle's
25.
Yeah. And he's a pretty,
24.
So he's our head trainer. So he runs our fitness department. Super mature,
I forget how
smart.
young he is.
Super mature, smart kid.
You think he's 35.
He might as well be 40.
I was going to say, you think he's 35, 40 for sure.
Yeah, super smart. I say kid. He's not a kid. He's obviously a grown man, but he's a super smart dude. Does a real good job. And so we're working out together. And now I have the hormones of a 20-something-year-old because I'm on hormone replacement therapy. But it ain't the same, bro. So I'm working out with him in his 20s and we're going, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I got home and I looked at my wife. I'm like, I think I overdid it.
You think?
Bro, the rest of the day, bro.
Only thing that went through my head, I was like, oh, this is hilarious. This is Sal right before he's about to start his little docu-series. This is him getting it out of his system. That's that's how I read it.
Go to rehab?
This is like, you're getting
they
ready.
do all the drugs real quick.
You're getting ready to go to rehab. You're like, we're getting fucked up tonight.
We'll have the intervention, but I'm going to do this real quick.
Yeah. But no, it was a great workout. We had a good time. Halfway through, I had to get some coconut water. I'm like, I need some carbs, dude. I'm sort of fizzle out. But we did. They have a forearm machine.
Yeah.
When I see a gym with
your forearm
when I see a forearm machine,
of course you geeked out on that.
my heart gets, you know what I mean? I get so warm in my heart. It's like, oh, that's a good
That'd
gym.
be funny, yeah, because there's definitely parts of that gym that like appealed to me a lot more too. And then like
I got to make my way over there. Now I feel so left out. I'm like, Doug, you haven't been there, have you?
No, I haven't.
Okay.
No, they got great. I mean, if you want like bodybuilding stuff, bro, they got some great. They have that lateral machine with the handles.
Yeah.
They have a fly machine that's plate loaded. That's like really great. It's like all these crazy.
I was so mad. I went into Fitness 19, not to bash him here, but I'm going to anyways. I went in there it was Thursday or Friday. Last week was like I was back on my kick, right? I've said a bunch of personal.
Your body changes so fast. I saw you this morning. I'm like, would you gain 5 pounds of muscle?
I worked out three times. Yes, I worked out 3 times last week. I haven't worked out 3 times in a week, and I don't know
Bro,
how.
you annoy me with that shit.
Oh man,
you're like a sponge.
It goes both ways though, and you know that. You know what I'm saying?
It does, but it goes the other way too.
It is. I've learned to reframe it as a positive thing because as funny as that. That's like as a kid, it was such a negative thing. I'd be so mad because I lose it so quick, but then
you get it back.
I can get it back just as quick. So, anyways, I was on my kick. I'm like, hey, I've kicked up all these good habits I'm trying to kick up in my life again, and obviously one of them is being more consistent in my lifting. And so I had already trained 2 days, and I'm like, oh, I didn't work out in here. Our gym was busy. And so I was like, oh, I'll work out when I get home. I'll just go to Fitness 19. And I went in there, and bro, there was lines for equipment. So I didn't lift. I was so mad because I wanted to lift.
Oh.
I did do an hour of lists, which I haven't done that in a long time, and that felt good to get a little bit of sweat, and I got to listen to an audiobook, and like that was cool, but I went in to lift, and I was so annoyed by how packed it was that I'm like, I don't like waiting in the lines.
That's because you went to a gym that's.
I know.
I mean, that's the MO, right?
I know, but I'd never seen it that. I didn't know.
What time was it? Was
3?
it afternoon?
It was like 3.
Oh wow!
Was it
even
5?
No, it wasn't even. Yeah, see, it wasn't like. See, I expected if I go 5 or 6. It wasn't. It was like 3.
Maybe because
we're out of school.
They're in summer right now. That's exactly what. That's why I was like, this didn't make sense to
you
me.
have a bunch of broccoli haircuts in there.
Yes, bro.
It's a bunch of dog shit.
Dude, they all look. They all look the same, bro. They all
they're
look
trying.
They all look like your boys, dude.
trying.
All of them have the same haircut as your boys. It's like they all go to the same barber, dude.
It's so funny.
We all look the same too.
I guess.
He got all fed. He's like, "Do you talk about that on the show, Dad?" Because he brought his friends up, hanging out with us over the weekend. I'm like, I mean, people just notice it. Like, that's the thing. It's a broccoli haircut. What am I supposed to call it?
I mean, he actually rocks it pretty well. He looks good.
Yeah, he's a good looking kid. He's all fit too.
And that's what I was gonna say. He's fit. He's got like you can get away, in my opinion. I don't remember this. We went through like weird.
I want to see him
like
with a '50s haircut though. Like all like almost like yeah, dude. Like I just want to do that to him one day.
I don't. It's funny when boys figure out they can shave their heads. Like it's such an epiphany. Like just shave your head, dude.
Yeah.
It's
Don't
so
worry about
freeing.
anything, and it's like you
Put a hat on, you're good, dude.
I mean, that's why the bald
girl
thing
comes
never
by
bothered
and,
me.
like,
It was
massages it,
so many people
like,
were like,
coming up on you, dude.
So many guys ask, like, how do you deal with that? I'm like, bro, I don't know. It's hell easy. It's convenient. Listen,
it's so convenient.
I already got my wife. You know what I'm saying? So I'm
She's not going anywhere?
Yeah, she ain't going anywhere. So I mean,
Be jacked and bald. You're fine.
I just feel like that's it. But I get it. I mean, some guys are. I didn't realize how attached some men are to their hair. And, like, that's such a. But I do. They do have like I know that's a. I guess that for some women that's a must have, right? Some women are like, hair, tall, right?
Tall.
It's like one of
those have to be the top two. Right?
Yeah. What is
hair
the? You know what it is?
height.
No, I know height.
I think height and hair are actually there. So I think maybe that's why it causes so much insecurity for some guys. Because I think that.
But then again, you got some of the most sought after men are shaved, bald, but they're also jacked.
And they're also
rich.
famous and rich.
Yeah,
So
that's true.
Famous and rich.
kinda white, yeah.
Bezos
short.
would have done real good if he wasn't rich. Yeah, right. No way. Yeah, right. That's true.
You could have anything.
Real hard time. Yeah.
He looks so different though compared
He's
to
jacked now, though. That's great.
It's trip looking at him compared to what he looked like when he
We're
first.
about $1 billion will do.
It helps.
I know. Anyway, I got to tell you guys, so Adam sent a gift to. Thank you very much, by the way. It was very, very such a thoughtful gift. So first he texts me. This guy is such a jerk. He's like, "Did you get your package?" I'm like, "What? What package?" Like, "I'm sending a delivery." I'm like, "A delivery? What are you sending?" He goes, "Oh, I'm going to send you a box of dicks." I'm like,
I knew he's stressing out because his kids. He's like, "Oh God, I got to get him for my
I'm
kids."
like, wait. Now, at first I thought he was joking. I'm like, "Shut up." He goes, "Well, he's like, it'll be," and he's like, "It'll be there between 3 to 5. So let me know when you get it. Take a picture of it." And I'm like, did he really send like a prank box of dicks?
Like a bag.
And I'm like, because he could do that. And I already told Jessica, I'm like, I swear to God, if it shows up,
There's a service that does that.
I said, I'm gonna. There is. I'm gonna Uber it back to your house.
That would have been a great get back to it. That actually,
Well, you know why? Because this was a problem. I thought to myself, if I get this box of dicks. Throwing it away is a problem.
Yeah.
What do you do with it?
Your
You just throw it
neighbor's
in your
gonna
throw
have
it in the
questions.
garbage?
Yeah, your garbage
You
man's like,
imagine?
what is
Your
this?
garbage man goes and there's a bunch of all your neighbors like, what do you do with it? They have to drive it to a
It's a wild
dumpster.
weekend.
Yeah.
Throw
You
your
actually
hands up,
thought
yeah.
about this. This is hilarious.
That's I can imagine that trying to throw that away.
Well, that would be like you just said. The move would be to Uber it back to the guy.
Oh, for sure.
Like that would be the ultimate flex
Oh, for
back.
sure.
Like,
Your
okay,
backyard.
send it back to
We'd
his house.
start Ubering it to each other. Nobody wants
Yeah, it would be like a submit. Who's gonna run? Who runs?
But
that
anyway,
one?
what he sent wasn't that everybody? It was one of those a massive bouncy house, and this because we had talked. I had talked.
Oh, sick.
I had talked about how we had a bouncy house and that we didn't store it well. It got moldy, so we had to throw it away. So he sent this huge one that you like attach like water to, and it like has water slides and stuff.
Oh, awesome.
Oh man, we were going nuts with that.
I bet the kids are going crazy.
Oh,
for that.
nuts!
Yeah.
Nuts! My son was jumping off that thing, bouncing down the slide.
I mean, we were talking when we were walking.
So great.
And there's been a handful of things that I look back and go, oh, that was the best and one of the best investments I've ever made in my life. I mean, they're relatively inexpensive. They're not. I assume they were thousands and thousands of dollars. You can get a really good one for $400 or $500, and
it's hours and hours and hours of activity.
I mean, my son.
Those are the best
ones. And I know you brought up like the water and the mold thing. Like, shoot, I'd say Max played on it 80% of the time with no water.
Yeah.
Just we would blow it up. If it was a nice day outside, Dad, will you blow up the slide? I'd blow the slide up. And then I'd hang out outside and just watch him bounce around on it, slide on it. I'm like, okay. And I remember after we had done that at least 50 times, I was like, well, that was
Have you gone down yours?
Yeah.
A little too big for it.
Yeah.
The whole thing was
you have to. So I have to stake it in if I'm going to get on it.
Yeah.
If I don't stake it in and I give the whole thing, will
dude,
tip over. So I'm so glad they played on it.
No, they were great. I really was so. I said, you got to say thank you to Adam. And he's like shy, but everybody was super Super great.
Yeah, I was on the plane, or else I would have answered. That's when I was flying out to Texas. I went out and saw Jordan Syatt. Love Jordan Syatt, dude. Such a good guy.
Great guy.
Yeah, we had a great interview. He has some really good questions. We talked about fatherhood. I finished the books that you had sent over, the parenting one. What's the title of it? It was
nice.
Parenting the It. What? Oh God, I got
Get
the
it
title.
right.
Getting it right.
Getting it right.
Getting it
Yeah,
right.
getting it right.
Isn't it good?
It's so good. I mean, I took some notes because I did want to bring it up to you. I'll share. So a couple of things that were big takeaways for me. In their house, there's really only 3 things that they talk to when it comes to like disciplining the kids, or what the rules. There are 3 is just dishonor, disrespect, disobedient, the 3 Ds. And everything falls under that. And it's all about if you dishonor someone, you disrespect, or you're disobedient, what they speak to is not the action or the behavior, but to the relationship that you destroy.
How do you repair the relationship?
Yes. And then the whole thing is around repairing that relationship. And one, it reminded me of something that I did as a kid that when I think of all the times I've probably been disciplined, one of the ones that was the most impactful. And it was also the one I hated doing the most, but when I really think about it, it wasn't that crazy of a punishment. I talked about that time where we went around paintballing and stuff, and my parents made me go to the house and knock on the neighbor's door and apologize to them. Now, I don't think my parents were that brilliant to understand what they were really doing. I think they just thought that was the way to do this at this time, because it's the only time we ever done.
That's a relationship repair.
Yeah. And so he tells a story in there that I was like, and this made me think of Justin, because I know Justin's at that age where his boys are kind of getting rebellious and with mom, and you know, in their house, honoring their mother is the pinnacle, right? Honoring God, honoring their mother are like the things that he speaks of. He doesn't even talk about honoring himself as a dad, because by proxy, if they honor their mother, they're honoring him or whatever. And he tells a story in there where his son is basically, he's 16 years old. He's getting ready to drive out of the driveway, and his mom is like getting on to him about something. And he basically, you know, tells her to F off, and then speeds out. And his dad, like as a dad, you see this, and he's like inside, you're raging. And he's like wanting to chase after him. He calms down, cools off, and he's like, what am I going to do? Again, speaking to repair the relationship. I'm not going to yell at him for what he said to his mom and what he did. It's more about what you dishonored your mom, and you now have to go repair that relationship. And so he thought long and hard while his son was gone, what he's going to do. And then his son comes home and he says, I don't want to talk a lot about what you did and what you said to your mom, but I want you to understand how much you dishonored your mother and how damaging that could be to a relationship, and you need to make that right. And he goes, so as your punishment, what you're going to do is you're going to take your mother to dinner. You're going to plan a night. You're going to take her to dinner.
Perfect.
And then when you come back,
Brilliant.
I want to hear how you repaired it. He said it was so good. They went and did, and that was the punishment. Like, and so as a kid, you probably know, like, oh man, my ass is crap.
He's going to take away my car.
Yeah, you start thinking of those things, right? And so there's a part of even the kid that's like,
no, because what came out of that was time spent in a repaired relationship.
Yes.
Which relationships are everything.
Yes.
With your kids, with each other, they're everything.
They even talk about, and these are what I like books where I get kind of aha moments, or I'm like, oh, I would have done that different, and okay, that's new to me. Like that was a new little hack.
That's smart.
Yeah, very smart. A smart way.
Mainly because too, you don't want to shut off the communication just by punishing either, right? And so now it's like you're isolating, you're taking both parties, out of that whole like communication line, and whereas what you need is to reestablish that. So
Plus
that makes
punishments, and this is a real hard line, because sometimes I don't know how this works. Okay, so that's just full disclosure. But if your kids do things out of fear, they're not necessarily doing them out of the right heart posture.
So he talks about this, and one of the things, so they don't talk about punishments or things that are assigned for certain things you do. It's dealing with the consequences of that thing.
Yeah.
So it's all about that. So for example, he always talks about too, like, don't get yourself stuck in this like you reactive punish. Now you're grounded for 2 months. Like, so it's like a threatening, punishing thing. He even said like the words that he practices. Oh no, I didn't see that you were going to do. Oh no, I didn't see you doing that. You're going to have to face the consequences. And like pause about it. You don't have to deliver what it is. It's like you're letting them know, like, oh wow, I can't believe you spoke to your mother like that.
By the way, there's a lot of truth in waiting, because oftentimes when you throw something down right out the gates when you're angry, it's out of your anger. It's not smart. It's not thought out.
No, that's what he says. Oh, like, so this learning to in that situation go, oh no, I can't believe you spoke to your mother that way. You're going to have to deal with those consequences.
I got to think about
And,
this.
yeah, exactly. And you don't even give the punishment. You go marinate on it. Like, okay, my goal. And so then thinking, okay, my goal is to get my son to repair that relationship that he just did with. And this, obviously, I'm using the mom example, but he used other examples of like even fighting with kids at school or disrespecting another parent or things or a teacher. And like, you got to go repair that. And so he will sit there and marinate on, okay, if my desired outcome is to have my son repair that relationship that he just damaged, what's a good way to do that? And then that's the punishment, you know, it's not about punishment. It's more, you hurt a relationship and that's not okay. Like you need to go remedy that, right? Restore that. And so, and the not reacting and going, oh no, is just like a good practice of like, when you're like, oh no, you hit your sister, you're going to have to face the consequences for that, you know, versus like reacting right away. So I thought that was really, really.
One thing that to add to that, because my wife is really good with a lot of what you're talking about, and she's the one that introduced me to that book. One thing that she also does really well with, especially with the little ones, is if they apologize, even if it doesn't seem sincere. You know, sometimes kids will like, oh, you know, oh, I'm sorry. They'll say it the wrong way or whatever, rather than being like, say that like you mean it or whatever. Immediately accepts it. So no matter how the kids say it, okay, thank you so much for apologizing.
Yeah.
You know, and what that's done is it's taught them to extend grace to each other. So I have a 4-year-old and a 2-year-old that if they do something to each other, and it could be whatever, it could be throwing a toy at their face, and one of them apologizes to the other, they almost always immediately accept the apology, which is remarkable. Yeah. Because typically you don't see that with little kids.
Yeah.
So that was just another thing to.
Well, you said it the other day. But I wanted to make sure I repeated like because there's 4 stages.
Yes.
And that's what matters, right? Is what stage you're doing all these different things. Where did I forget those 4 stages? It's discipline, train, coach, friend. Okay, so discipline is 0 to 5, training is 6 to 12, coaching is 13 to 18, and then friend is 18 plus. Another thing that I would have done wrong, that I'm glad again I read this, is one of the things he says is leave sarcasm at the door. I'm very sarcastic and witty, and Katrina and I have that relationship, and I think that's funny, and I would have not have viewed it as such a bad thing. But I get it now because the book I read before was The Whole Brain Child, about the neuropsychology of a child and their brain. And their brain hasn't really learned to fully process sarcasm. They're still learning, like, this is how you talk to mom. This is how you talk to people. And even though it's probably coming from a good place.
Weaponize it.
Yeah, exactly. They'll weaponize it or not know where the boundaries are with it, or when it's appropriate to use it, when it's not appropriate to use it, because they just see that it's okay to do it. So
I got to read that part.
And basically what it says is just that it's not necessarily that, oh, all of it's so bad. It's that it's not worth the risk. It's not worth risking what it could do negatively for what little return you get.
Because sarcasm can become cynicism, and it can also be like a sharp sword.
And it's just the wrong time. That's at 18 plus. Your kid becomes an adult, and they're now like, now you can have fun. And
plus they do that with their friends.
Right.
Yeah.
They don't need it from mom and dad, right? So so I thought that was interesting because that was something I would have done wrong. I think I would have definitely. I like sarcasm, but again, they're at a teaching phase of their lives as a kid, and so it's not necessarily something that I want to teach him right now while his brain is still developing as a way of communicating with people because of how bad it can land. Yeah. Because they don't quite have the social awareness and self-awareness to know how to moderate it. They just see, oh, dad does it all the time, therefore I can do it all the time.
And so being mean can be funny.
Yes.
In the wrong way.
Exactly.
I see.
Yeah.
I got to look. I got to read
So that was really, really, I mean, the back-to-back books were so good to go from Whole Brain Child to then go to the parenting one that you recommended, because they had some crossover, because the neuroscience, you know, what's interesting about what the book you recommended talks about with the 4 stages of discipline, teach, coach, and whatever. The neuroscience talks, and they're almost identical. The years are a little bit different. I think the neuroscience one is 0 to 3, 4 to 8, and then so on and so forth. But a lot of the stuff that I learned in the neuroscience book has to do with where the brain is developing. And that's why that way of parenting is so...
Well, we forget. We look at like kids, even adolescents, especially adolescents and teenagers, like they're small adults, but they're not. Their brains are not the same. They're not small adults. They're adolescent. They're a different species. Yeah. A different kind of creature. And they don't think the way... I remember being told once that a teenager if they feel a particular way, this is how they think they always feel. Yeah. And I know this because I'll have my teenager, I'll give them something to eat or something, and they'll say, I don't like that. I'm like, what are you talking about? You eat it all the time. No, I never like that. And I'm thinking like, are you crazy? You always like this. But it's like they literally believe what they feel right now is how they always feel because of how their brain.
The other thing that he said in relation to this sarcasm, he talks about, he said this thing, I wrote it down, it was so good. Source determines weight, weight determines impact, and impact determines outcome. And it's in relation to the power of your words as a father. And your words are so heavy compared to anybody else. This is also why the sarcasm thing is not worth the risk, is because you may do something that you think is sarcastic and funny, but really hits an insecure spot of your kid. Yeah. Say, for example, I know we're teasing about the haircut, but that one hits home to me because I was like, I remember my uncle wanted to cut my ducktail off, and he used to tease me and make fun of me all the time about it. And I still remember that as an adult, how much that bothered me. I mean, I think as an adult now, I'm like, how ridiculous the ducktail.
But it stuck with you.
But it stuck with me because that was an insecurity spot for me. And my uncle, being sarcastic and teasing me, hit me in a place like that. And as a young boy, I don't know how to communicate that and say that, so he probably never even knows.
He probably just thinks he's joking with
you. Right. And so, again, a situation where it doesn't, it's not worth it. It's as funny as it may seem to us or them, like the risk and the power of your words is so heavy that if you miss the mark just a little bit, you have no idea how deep that hits on the kid. So
interesting.
All good.
Wow.
Yeah, really good reads.
Hey, so I'm going to take a left here. Do you guys want to know what the fastest growing segment of probiotic users are?
Muscle building.
For performance and muscle building.
Oh, it is.
Athletic performance. So
you think it's because it's new emerging science? Is that why?
It's so much data is coming out showing how because probiotic use, it's been widely accepted, helps with gut health, digestion. Then the next one was skin. It's good for skin. Then we had data showing it actually improves your mood. Wow, look, it helps with depression. Now we have all these studies showing it makes you stronger and gives you more endurance. In fact, it's better than most athletic performance supplements.
Really?
In the data. Yeah.
Interesting.
Probiotic?
Yes.
Interesting.
Well, good bacteria produce neurotransmitters.
Right.
They help with inflammation. They help with muscle contraction and muscle health and insulin sensitivity and all the things that are important for athletic performance. So I guess it makes sense. But the data on it's really fascinating. There's studies on older adults. It's like they gave them a hormone. And they just give them a probiotic, and then they test them, and they're stronger, 15% in some cases.
Wow.
Yeah, pretty remarkable. I got to get back on taking seed. I actually ran out a little while ago, and I think I can tell with my digestion, so I'll start taking.
You've always swore by it.
Oh, I love them.
You're the one that
absolutely love them.
Yeah.
Absolutely love
them. And do you think that's because, if you have some gut issue, you're getting stuff in your bloodstream, you're then getting your body to react, it means you're probably in this constant, even low level to moderate level of inflammation all the time. That's going to affect.
Well, what's interesting with these studies is they're taking healthy individuals, so they're not taking.
So this is not somebody who necessarily has.
They're not taking people with gut health issues.
Oh, I assume that's what it is.
They're taking healthy people, normal people, older people, or younger people.
Really? Now, are they randomly, or are they actually intentionally like finding people that this person doesn't even have gut issues? We're going to give it to them.
I mean, the studies say healthy individuals, so I think they have to do a screening, and you don't have to have illness, you don't have to have whatever, right? Because that could throw off the study. And they're giving them this, and they're testing their 1 rep max. So they're testing their endurance. So you see it improve VO2 max. You see it improving strength.
Now, do you think those? Okay, do you think so they're picking, let's say, 100 random healthy people and then giving them that. But do you think there is so many people with underlying food intolerances and gut issues that probably would fall in a group of a healthy 100 people that is probably what's impacting them, helping them? Or do you really think somebody who doesn't have gut issues, is really healthy, has that, and still also sees that?
Yeah, no, I think gut health is not perfect. That's super common. But for someone to have bad gut health, they'd probably be excluded from the study.
Okay.
So if somebody's reporting like irritable bowel syndrome or whatever the problem, okay, we want people.
Because we already know that would help them.
Yeah, and not only that, but it's going to mess up the study. Like I don't want people who have any medical conditions or whatever to do this study on VO2 max or maximal knee extension strength or whatever. It's another study. And it's a performance enhancer, which is pretty remarkable.
Interesting.
Yes, absolutely. It's so interesting to me. I remember when we first started the podcast, we were one of the first fitness shows to really tout the benefits of gut health and probiotics.
Yeah.
But back then, even it was all about mental health and gut health.
Yeah.
And then the downstream effects.
The neurotransmitters, I think, is the biggest factor. Because I mean, so gut, also the heart has them right, and then the brain. It's just that's weird to me that it would enhance performance.
Yes. Now they're not all probiotics are not all the same. Oftentimes you'll get one, and most of the bacteria in there's dead, or it doesn't go where it's supposed to, or whatever. Seed is, they're light years ahead of everybody.
Speaking of performance enhancement, when I did the interview with Jordan, something he said to me that I didn't know, I would have thought you've brought it up. Maybe you have already, and I don't remember you saying it. I didn't realize that BPC 157 is actually banned.
Yeah.
Like from
right
athletes,
now?
from athletes, yeah. USDA and the other organization,
WADA and all that.
Yeah, it's considered a performance enhancement.
USADA, I think.
Is it US?
I think so. USADA, yeah.
I think
USDA is.
I thought it was WADA. I said WADA.
Yeah,
give it to beef.
I was barbecuing a lot this week. That was at the top of mind for me.
It is banned. I don't know how they test for it. Like, good luck testing for a natural occurring peptide.
Yeah, I thought that was so interesting. He brought it up on the podcast, and I'm like, oh, I'd
like to see them test for it. I don't think there's any test that can identify BPC. It's in and out of your system so quickly, and it's a naturally occurring peptide.
You probably have to accidentally do it right when you get tested.
I don't even think they'd be able to see then.
Oh, really?
Like, how do you determine what a natural amount of that? We want to have enough data.
Can you look it up, Doug? How do they test?
Is there a test for it? Speaking of sports and stuff, professional sports, did you see the shirts? I got to say this. Let me preface this by saying,
for the WNBA.
I'm just going to say this.
The shirts for the WNBA.
Hold on a second. I'm just going to say this.
Yeah. We've talked about this before.
They have to be the WNBA has to be the most tone deaf group of people.
It's like
in existence. How can you possibly make yourself look worse and more hated
than what
they're doing?
Well, they don't.
They came out in these shirts.
It works.
Yeah, they came out
business-wise.
They came out in these shirts. I'll look it up for you.
I did not see this.
They came out to play in a shirt that says "Pay us what you owe us."
Oh my! Are you serious?
How embarrassing! Do you know that they've
I hope the views went down right after they did something.
I don't know how much lower they can get. They haven't profited since day one.
You have to fill seats to be able to make money.
They're a subsidized league.
Yeah.
The NBA subsidizes the WNBA. They're getting paid more than what they deserve. Mm-hmm. You get paid what you deserve based off of the revenue you bring in. And I'm sorry, ladies, you're amazing athletes. A
lot of athletes are pretty oblivious.
But you guys are tone deaf.
Please tell
me. What are you doing? Why are you bringing more light to yourself?
Please tell me you saw Shane Gillis's stand.
I did.
Was his
so funny.
His WNBA joke, bro? I fell out of my chair because I even got real because I hear and Amanda Hicks, a 3-time WNBA All-Star. Give a hand for.
I love it. She played into it. She's like,
the whole crowd's clapping. He's just like, I'm just kidding. That's my buddy's wife.
Yeah.
I knew none of you guys would know any WNBA. Oh God!
Well, it's just
classic.
If you want to make yourself more hated, you just keep sounding ungrateful and like you're spoiled. Like, just keep doing that. Otherwise, what you should do is say nothing and just play. But everybody knows you guys are not bringing in revenue. They know that you're subsidized, so you just seem like a bunch of spoiled. Like, it's ridiculous. Pay us what you owe us. I mean, what do we owe you?
Well, and to your point,
you're getting free money.
Your point of being tone deaf is like, listen, my wife played D1 college basketball.
I mean, they're badass athletes.
I'm rooting for the WNBA. I don't watch it, but I'm rooting for them.
People want them to succeed. Yeah,
I mean, I don't want to see them fail, but when you see this type of stuff, and then I see too the weird dynamic they have with Caitlin Clark. Caitlin Clark is, if I do tune in WNBA, it's to watch her. Yeah. Like she has one of the most beautiful shots I've ever seen in the WNBA. It's like watching a female Steph Curry. She is badass.
Yeah.
And then she's not part of the in crowd with a lot of these players. They all talk shit about her, treat her, and it's like, this is the girl who's bringing more attention to you than anybody, and you guys are infighting. This makes no sense. You would think you would elevate. This is like this is their version right now of Michael Jordan entering their league. That's what it is.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously she can't play like Michael Jordan, but to that level,
be like fully embraced.
Fully embraced, because that's what took the NBA off, was a player like Michael Jordan. This is the same situation.
But even besides that, okay, it's crazy to me when you play. You're in a league. You're in an organization that doesn't profit. You're not. It would be like if you work for a company that's constantly in the red, and you go up to your boss, you're like, you owe us all more money. What? Yeah. Have you seen our numbers? Yeah. We're tanking. You're lucky you're not fired. Like, what are you doing here?
Yeah.
So it's like, why would you do that? Because
I did not know they
it's
did
like
this.
they're poking fun at themselves by wearing a shirt like that. So I see that and I'm like,
Scroll up a little bit, Doug.
What are they
Is that
thinking?
because that's Caitlin Clark? Is she wearing one too?
yeah, she
You're like,
was.
should they run like the profit loss, like and
Whose
just like
idea
print
was
it out
this?
for them? Be like, look, here's where our team is. Here's where the league is. Like, where are we going to get
I
that
don't
money?
know. It's just crazy.
I mean, you had to think this is there's always somebody.
Doug, look up how much the NBA subsidizes to them and see if you can look that up. I
Oh
want to
yeah,
know what the numbers
I've
are.
given the numbers before. It's ridiculous. Yeah, it's ridiculous.
I think they have a $40 million a year loss.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
Wow.
Yeah.
Pay me what you owe me.
Well, that sounds like the Colbert Show. I guess like he was losing $40 million a year.
Was he?
Yeah,
And he
they
canceled
finally
it?
canceled it. Yeah,
Oh, his show sucks.
Yeah.
no
well,
one
it's all
watches our
propaganda.
league. It's losing. Right there. No one watches our league. It's losing $50 million. What does that say? Go up. Go up.
Oh, right here, up to this.
Yeah, I can't see.
Oh, they're complaining. No. Scroll down more, Doug. That paragraph right there.
Yeah, right there.
Who is it that's saying that? Red.
No one watches our league. It's losing $50 million a year. We just got trolled after the ESPYs. What should we do? WNBA players, let's become even more insufferable.
Oh, they're criticizing them.
So this was in response to the Shane Gillis thing.
No.
Yes, that's what it's saying right now.
No,
We just
the author is writing about how ridiculous it is that these girls came out wearing these shirts.
yeah.
So he's saying like, oh, would you guys all of a sudden like decide let's become more insufferable? So he's
I
criticizing.
thought it was like, okay,
Yes.
we got trolled at the ESPYs, and then here's our response.
No,
let's wear these shirts and say that.
No, that's what I mean by tone deaf. It's like you don't know like what's going on here.
yeah.
I know. When I saw that, I was like, oh my god.
Oh, look
I
at you.
just
Literally,
shake my head.
They need better PR, dude.
The writer wrote the analogy that you just gave right now. Imagine being employed at a company that has never turned a profit and showing up to work in these shirts.
That's where like we're closing doors. Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah, each of you owe us $230,000. That's what somebody should say.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's so sad,
I know.
dude.
Yeah, it's NBA gives them $10 million a year. It looks like.
Yeah.
They give them
own
$10 million a year and they still lose 50.
Yes, and the NBA owns 50% of the WNBA.
Yeah, the amount that they're propping them up and the things that they're doing to help them. Which, by the way, I'm okay with like trying to help them.
If they want
but
to
it's
do
like,
that, that's their company. Like,
Yeah.
see if you can.
But I
figure
mean,
it out.
and you're going to be a part of this movement. You just got to be. Hey, listen, you came in at it early, and
by
it's-
the way, I'm going to be very clear. A lot of professional athletes, male or female, are tone deaf. Oftentimes, they act like they're spoiled.
Well, that's what I
babies.
mean, yeah.
But everybody hates it when they do that because yes, you work hard, you train hard, but you're in this position. It's like really, people want to see gratitude because so many people wish they could do what you do. So oftentimes, when athletes come out and complain about silly things, they just make themselves look dumb.
Well, this is how I felt about the baseball when they had the lockouts.
Oh, yeah.
It was just like I was so turned off by even watching.
Exactly.
Oh yeah.
know, the
only
sport
thing
after that, I
the
was like,
only thing
you
that brought them back was the home run.
selfish
The home run
assholes.
With steroids.
Yeah, with steroids. The
Yeah.
home run battle. They were dying after that.
They were
I was the same
making
way
so
too. I was a
much
big
money.
baseball fan. I stopped watching after that. After lockout, I was like, this is lame. Like now, I don't want to watch it anymore. I mean, I went through the same thing with the WNBA too. Overall, the whole COVID thing and stuff like that.
You mean the NBA?
Or NBA, yeah. The NBA went that whole direction. Yeah, no, I've never watched the WNBA. I actually have watched a couple WNBA games that Caitlin Clark is playing.
So Katrina she played college, like high level college ball. Does
D1.
she watch WNBA?
Nope.
She
watches every NBA game with me, but she
doesn't like WNBA.
I put on the WNBA more than she does. In fact, I tease her about it all the time. I'm like, aren't you going to support your girls or what? So I'll talk shit to her like that. It's just, and she'll tell you, it's hard because they're playing the exact same game that the guys are. And the guys' level of entertainment is just so much higher.
Sure.
So and you only have so much time. Now listen, I bet if the WNBA was at where it's at now, and she was in college playing women's basketball, she'd probably be following you a little more.
Maybe because she's like, maybe I can
Yeah,
get
and
in
when
there.
she was in college, like she followed because some of these players that she played against are in the WNBA,
Oh,
right? So
interesting.
she knew them or knew of them really well, and so that part of her, she's intrigued. But if I came home and saw her watching I'd be so surprised. But I'll walk home or I'll come home and see her watching the NFL and watching the NBA. She watches that all the time. But Katrina also doesn't get roped into that like support. It's like it's either entertaining or
Either
it's
I
not.
like it or I don't.
Yeah, either I like it or I don't. I'm like, I'm not going to do it just to try and make a point or like this is me supporting. It's like, well, maybe when they get good enough, I'll watch it, So
The best skincare products contain the peptide GHK-Cu. This peptide boosts collagen production in a remarkable way on your skin. The first time you use it, nothing comes close. The best company is Luminos by Entera. They have the highest percentage of GHK-Cu you'll find anywhere. Try it out yourself. 1 or 2 applications, you can tell a difference in your skin. Just go to enteraskincare.com/MPM. That's ENTERA skincare.com/MPM. Use the code MPM, get 10% off your order. Back to the show.
Our first caller is Christian from California.
What's up, man?
What's going on, Christian?
Hey, good morning.
What's
How are you guys?
Good. How are you?
Good, thanks. Hey, I've been listening to you guys, I think, for about 3 years now.
You've been on the show before.
I have been, yes.
Yeah. I remember the Iggy jersey. I know that for sure.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
right. It's a little tough to be a Warriors fan.
I know.
But we'll see. But I've ran a handful of MAPS programs, and as I was running them, I actually wrote little like 1-line reflections for each of them that I've run, and I love to share them with you before I get into my question.
Yeah,
Oh,
that's
cool.
great.
Yeah, let's hear it.
The first one I ran was anabolic, and my 1-line reflection for that one was, this is what lifting heavy feels like. Because I think before then, like I only ran 8 to 12 reps on everything and never outside of that. And so that was a cool one. Then I ran performance, and my 1-line reflection for that one was, why are there so many damn lunges? Self-explanatory.
Matrix lunges. You're welcome.
Then I ran aesthetic, and that one is, no, Adam is crazy. The volume was wild on that one. I was on a bulk, and I think I was still taking off a set or 2 every time.
Yeah, it's a lot.
Then I ran symmetry, and my reflection for that one was, my left side sucks. And then MAPS 15, I'm currently on the last week of it, actually. This is a 4-liner, and it's, this isn't enough. Oh, wait, what in the world? Yes, it is.
Awesome. That's awesome.
Love your guys' programs.
That's
They're
great. That's awesome, dude.
Yeah.
Cool. How can we help you, brother?
Yeah, so my question has to do with borrowing volume to bringing up like lagging body parts. I know you guys have talked a bit about if there's a body part that's lagging, then you don't just add volume, but you take a set from another body part and throw it onto that lagging one, or you reorder the workout so you like prioritize that lagging one up top.
That's right.
And that all makes sense. But my question is, if I'm on a cut, does it matter as much? Because I know when you're on a cut, you're not really trying to build, you're just preserving the muscle that you already built. So does that concept of borrowing volume
Well, it becomes even more.
matter?
It becomes even more important, right? Meaning that it becomes more important that you don't add more volume than what you were already currently doing while also in a cut, because you're already not going to build in a cut, right?
Right.
So, and it really depends. Like, this is a bit nuanced, right? Because how aggressive is the cut? Is this like I'm hovering around maintenance and sometimes in a cut, or am I really cutting aggressive? Because we tend to separate the two, like they live completely independent of each other, and they do live independent of each other. But in the context of a 30-day training cycle, there's probably periods of time when your body is in somewhat of a surplus, and then there's other times when it's in a deficit. And then at the end of 30 days, we call it a cut because you were in a deficit more days or more time than you were in a surplus, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So unless you're in like a really, really aggressive cut, sometimes you're kind of toggling back and forth. And so the same rules would apply, though, is that but in a cut, it's even more important that you don't overdo it on volume, because if you overdo it on volume in a cut, you're not giving the body enough calories and recovery in order to support that. Whereas you could probably get away with a little bit of that if you were in a surplus. So it just becomes, I'd say, even more important that you don't just stack more volume on. So let's say it's our biceps that we're trying to let's say you're running MAPS 15. You loved it. You're like, oh, this is a perfect amount of volume. But you're like, you know what? I want a little more bicep or whatever it is. So you add an exercise a day into the routine that's for the biceps, or two times a week you do, 3 sets of extra biceps. Like, that's probably okay in a program like that. That's low enough volume that it's not going to tax you. But now let's say you're in a program more like performance or aesthetic, and you're in a cut, and you're trying to add exercises to your body. Like, that's not going to happen. You're just not going to build. Your body's going to be so taxed, you're going to be stuck in that recovery trap that Sal talks about all the time.
Yeah. The game in a surplus is to build. The game in a cut is to preserve. So if you have a lagging body part, it's more important from an aesthetic perspective that you preserve the lagging body part more than the others. So it makes sense, right? It makes sense. Plus, lagging body parts, I mean, we can get into the weeds with that, but those tend to be the body parts that if a muscle gets pared down, those are the first ones that tend to get pared down, right? I mean, my quads grow if I just think about doing squats. And so I could do very little with my quads to keep them in a cut. That's not the case with other body parts where I have to, really make sure that they're prioritized. So it's the same thing. You're still going to borrow volume. You're not going to build, but you're going to preserve better in the cut for the lagging body part. So it's the same. It's just as valuable.
Gotcha. That makes sense. And yeah, I think for me too, like I have Filipino legs, and so I think about them and they grow. But for me, like my lagging body, like shoulders and abs for me, I feel I'd like to develop more. But I know there's so much value from squats. And so I'm just thinking like not all exercises are created equal. And so I feel weird like taking a set of squats and adding them to, I don't know, lateral raises. Like those two don't seem
You're fine.
equal. How do I balance that?
No, you're fine. I would cut down, especially if your legs grow really easily.
That's where you would advise someone like that because you just said that, right?
Yeah.
If you were a client and you're like, Adam, I do one set of squats. I mean, you could do, here's another way to do this is like, maybe you don't completely cut it out, but maybe it's like every other week you don't squat. And you know that like, man, I just barely got to touch my legs once every couple weeks and I maintain my legs. And there's everybody has these. Like unfortunately, mine's not my legs. This is my arms. My arms, right. I literally could touch my arms once a month. Once a month, I touch my arms, and I will maintain like my arms. I'm not going to grow on that, but they're not going to shrink anymore if I can touch them once a month. So if you have that and that's your legs, then do them once every 2 weeks or once a month, and then add some of that volume to whatever the shoulders or whatever.
Here's another way to do it, right? One set of squats is probably worth 2 or 3 sets of laterals or something like that. So what are you looking for specifically with your delts? You mentioned laterals. I'm assuming you're looking for the lateral head.
Yeah.
I would cut out a set of squats just to make it simple and add 2 sets of laterals. That's a pretty balanced trade, I would say.
All right.
Yep.
That's helpful.
Yeah, go for it. Do it.
Cool.
Yeah, dude. And then abs, abs in a cut, you don't, unless you're looking for a lot of strength and stuff like that, like you're going to see them as you get leaner. So right. You don't need to worry so much about adding volume to the abs, I would say.
Gotcha.
Christian, you're already in our forum, aren't you?
I am not.
Oh, wow.
I'm not on social media.
Oh, you're not on.
Good for you.
Good for you.
That's why.
Oh, maybe I've asked you that before. Maybe we told you. Good for you. Well, I'm not going to put you on there then, so never mind.
I know that. So aesthetic has those focus sessions, which are like targeted trigger sessions, essentially, right?
Yep.
And aesthetic had too much volume for me. Is there another program that you guys would recommend instead of that one for like targeting?
Well,
you could do anabolic and then add focus sessions.
Or you could it sounds like from your, I loved hearing your 1 week or one, sentence answers here. Yeah. Max 15 seemed to do really well for you.
Yeah.
And that's a really low volume program. So I would suggest building off of that. Since that's one of the lowest volume programs at everything we have, you already recognize like, wow, actually I did pretty well on this. So why don't you build from there instead of taking a program that already has built in way more volume? Take that structure and go, let me add a couple sets of shoulders throughout the week and just see how I feel. And that'll probably do really well for you because it's such a low volume program. And you may not have to change anything leg wise. That thing is already low enough volume that you could easily add 4 to 5 sets of shoulders throughout the week and totally not be taxing the body and see great results. So I would actually start you from that place and add to that, then go try and take say anabolic or performance or aesthetic and then modify and change too much. It's like you've already realized that Max 15 you thought wasn't enough volume, but it was like, oh wow, my body's actually responding with this low volume. Right. So maybe try adding a little bit and just keep doing that until you find the limit where your body goes, oh no, now I'm getting sore way more. I'm not recovering the same. I'm not seeing the strength gains. Okay, that's probably too much. So build on that.
Gotcha. No, yeah, that's super helpful. Thanks, you guys.
You got it, man.
All right,
Thanks for
Christian.
calling in, brother.
Yeah. Good catching
Hey,
up.
before
Dude.
I go,
Yeah.
I wanted to, you guys provide so much good information and so many like hacks and things. I wanted to provide you guys with some. I have a 5-year-old, and so I love your guys' stories with Aurelius and Max, and my daughter's right there. And I'm sure you guys do this too, but we like to read our daughter stories when she goes to bed, bedtime stories. And we like to do it with kind of like a moral to the story, or find a book that has like a message that she's learning. So that usually means I'm in the library reading through all these children's books, making sure there's a message in there that I like that she can learn. But I've recently found if you prompt it right, ChatGPT is a great storyteller.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah. And so if you prompt it, like my prompt for it was like, you're an award-winning children's author. Write me a bedtime story that takes 5 to 10 minutes to read to my 5-year-old.
Oh, wow.
And she loves unicorns and silliness. And it writes this story for you, and they're great.
Yeah.
And you can like always prompt it with, I want her to learn more about sharing, or I want her to learn more about overcoming hardship.
It's a great hack.
Holy cow.
Yeah,
Great hack.
That's fascinating.
Interesting.
Yep.
So try that. And recently, because it learns, right? So ChatGPT knows that I'm reading these stories to my kid every night. And so recently it started adding at the bottom of the story, these are some follow-up questions you can ask your kid. Like, how does Luna the little unicorn, how did she feel when she first didn't want to share? And then so I'm having these conversations with my 5-year-old, and they're sweet.
That's great.
Great hack, bro.
Give it a shot.
Yeah.
All right,
There
man.
you go.
Thank you.
Thanks, Christian.
All right. Thank you, guys.
All right, brother.
I don't know what it is for me, but I have this internal resistance to using AI. I do. Like, part of me is like, that's a great idea. And then part of me is like, you're not going to create the stories for my kid. And I'm like, but I read other books.
Yeah,
other
I'm
people
outsourcing this. Yeah.
I'm like going back and forth in my head as he's talking. I'm like, I read other stories. Why wouldn't I read this? And I'm like, interesting. Yeah, the lagging body part conversation is a good one. And again, the biggest mistake people make is they just add volume, but they don't take it off anything else. They just overtrain. And they wonder why their body parts don't respond.
Our next caller is Michaela from Massachusetts.
Hi, Michaela.
Hello.
Hey.
Hey, how are you? It's nice to meet you.
Yeah, same. How can we help you?
Cool. Okay, so first off, thanks so much for having me on and for all the content that you put out. I'm so grateful that I found your podcast a couple of years ago.
Thank you.
Yeah, so here's my question. I'm going to go ahead and read it. So I've been CrossFitting 5 to 6 days per week for about 5 years. And honestly, sometimes it's more than that. I know that it's bad. And I haven't been able to get away from it really because of the community. I've made such great friends there throughout the years and throughout the various moves. Yeah. So I just bought my first home, which is across the street from a really nice non-CrossFit gym. And I figured that now is a great time to try out all of your advice. So my question is, if you were me, what programs or practices would you recommend?
Yeah, good question.
It's a great question.
Now I want to back up to Michaela, because I want to just give you. I just want to cover something here. So you did it for you did it for years. You love the community. It obviously brought you some joy, and it obviously improved the quality of your life. So yeah, maybe the workout isn't ideal. Did you injure yourself, by the way, or were you okay the whole time?
Honestly, I was pretty healthy throughout it. Good. I think what's made me realize that I need to switch is that going to the gym for 90 minutes and killing myself has been starting to impact me at work. Honestly, I'm getting just kind of tired in the afternoon. Okay. And I have to use my brain. So
okay. All right. So what are you looking for in a workout program specifically? You enjoy working out, but what other things are you looking for from it?
Yeah. So I think ideally I would like to just kind of look like someone that works out. My joke with my CrossFit coach has been when are my arms going to come in? When am I going to see those?
Okay.
So I also have a question. So whenever I get somebody coming from CrossFit, especially for this long, the main thing that I'm mostly concerned about is how addicted to that training intensity and volume are they? Because probably the best place to send you is the complete opposite, but that's really hard psychologically for some people. Meaning we have programs that have lots of volume and require several days at the gym. And then we have problems that are like very low volume, like MAPS 15, that are short workouts. But you take somebody who's been used to beating themselves up for 90 minutes in the gym 6 days a week, and you go, hey, I just want you to work 15 minutes out a day, and I think that's the best thing for you. They go, they freak out. But honestly, that's where I'd want you to go.
Yeah.
So, but I also understand the psychological part. And so sometimes a coach like me has to take someone like you and I slowly wean you off. I go, hey, MAPS Performance is kind of CrossFit-like, and it's, you know, got some good intensity in there. It's got a lot of multiplanar movements. It's similar. It's, in fact, we created that program as what we were trying to attract people who like CrossFit, but we think it's far better programming, better balance. And so I would take you there if you're like, yeah, I do love it, and I don't know if I'm ready to go the other extreme. And then I would slowly step you back that way. So it really depends on where you're at psychologically.
Yeah, a different way to say that is, how willing are you to really switch directions?
Yeah, I think I'm pretty coachable. So if you guys are telling me to do something, I will like do it to a T.
Okay.
Okay.
Good. I tell you what, I think you would love MAPS Anabolic. I think doing the 3-day-a-week version, you could do the trigger sessions on the off days, keep them low intensity, and I think you're going to be blown away. I think you're going to be absolutely blown away by the second and third week on the changes to strength and performance and how you feel. So that would be where I would send you.
Okay.
Yeah?
I like it.
Yeah,
sounds
let's
good.
go with that.
Now, here's what we're going to do, Michaela. I'm going to have you back on in a few months so we can ask you how it went.
Okay.
Did you actually rest during the rest periods?
Yeah,
That's an important piece.
Yeah, make sure you do that. That's actually a great point. You know, I know that CrossFit keeps you moving through the workout. That might be new for you to
This is very
rest.
traditional, straight sense.
Contemplate. Yeah.
And so again, I'm always thinking about who I'm training, right? Specifically, and the advice I'm giving. With someone like you, I am going to force you to rest for 3 minutes between sets, because I know how difficult that may be, but how important it is for you from what you're coming from. Where someone else, sure, maybe I'll let them get going in 90 seconds. Where you, I'm going to be like, we need to rest. I want a full 2-3 minute rest
building,
before you go to
which
the next
is different.
one. Yes. And so really discipline yourself to do that, even though it's very different than the typical CrossFit workout. Trust the process. We got you.
And we'll have you back on so we can
I'd
check
love
up
to
on you.
also put you in the private forum if I can, so we can just keep an eye on you. And if you have any questions along the way, that you have us to reach out to.
Yeah, that would be awesome.
Okay.
Since it's only 3 days a week, is it okay if I do just like gentle yoga? on
Yeah.
the
Oh,
other-
yeah.
Oh, perfect.
Well, there's trigger sessions too.
There are trigger sessions, but I love gentle yoga.
But yeah, yoga would be
Yoga and walking and mobility stuff.
Great. Go
Great.
for it.
As much as you want. Like literally,
Low
if
to
you-
moderate
If
intensity.
you find yourself feeling a little restless because it is so extreme of a difference as far as the rest periods and less volume, all the above, but you want to do something, go walk or go stretch or go do yoga. I love that.
Yep.
That's a great way to transition you out of those long, intense workouts.
Yeah. So you're talking about like a mild vinyasa flow or a yin.
Yeah.
Yeah, perfect. Go for it.
Those are great.
Okay.
Yes.
Awesome.
Yeah. All right. We'll see you in a few months.
Thank you so much.
Thanks,
right.
Michaela.
All right.
Bye.
Well, good. As soon as she said, I'll do it. Like, let's go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
It's going to
cool.
blow her mind too. And
I'm excited for her because, even though she had a good attitude about it, but you've been training 5-6 days a week for 5+ years. or
yeah,
be
it's
a
a
culture
big
shock.
change.
to not see physical change that you wanted is a bit frustrating.
Of course.
You should not be having to train that much and not seeing the body that you feel like
Well,
you're
what kept her there was a community, but then after 5
they
years,
do that really well there for sure.
yeah, you're like, okay, that's enough.
Do you know that her comment on work and feeling, that was so when we, obviously CrossFit originated over here in Santa Cruz area. And so the Bay Area, San Jose, Santa Cruz, a lot of us trainers were introduced to it long before
in the beginning
average.
stage. Yeah.
Yeah, early on. And so we were playing around with it. I remember when it was just getting popular before it was like nationwide and stuff. And I remember doing the workouts, and I would just have to lay on the floor in my office for like a half hour afterwards. And I was just done. Like the rest of my workday, I was just done. I was
like, one time I felt like tunnel vision doing a workout. I was like, this isn't good.
And I was like, I didn't want to get up from my desk. And I know part of my job at that time is to get out and mingle with my members and I had no energy to do that. I was just like, I just sat at my desk with felt my heart beat in my head for like half hour and just so exhausted. I'm like, this is not a way to live. Like, this is not smart. Like, there's no way I'm going to continue to do this. And so that
You mean going to war at every workout?
But I'm excited. I'm excited to see what she does.
One more we save.
Our next caller is Sarah from Washington.
Hi, Sarah.
Hey, how you doing, Sarah?
Hello.
Hi. I'm really fangirling right now. Like, so big smile.
Oh, awesome. How can we help you?
Big fan. So just quickly before I get into my email, want to do the same thing that everybody does on these calls. You all have had a huge impact on my life. And just to say it lightly, Sal, I have appreciated your walk with Jesus. You kind of influenced me to go back to reading the Bible. So I'm on a 365-day Bible reading journey. So I hope I make it. So thank you for that.
Awesome. Thank you.
So I'm going to just get into my email and just full disclosure. I changed it a little bit because I felt like I didn't include some important things before I got to my question. So I felt that was important for you all to know.
Okay.
So I'm a 47-year-old former CrossFitter, who has been rebuilding after years of burnout, hormonal dysfunction, and overtraining. A little over a year ago, my lifestyle looked very different. I was lifting about 4 to 5 days a week, running about 3 to 4 days a week at about 3 to 4 miles each time. I was under eating, so about 1,500-ish calories, over consuming sugar and chronically stressed. About 2 years ago, I ran a half marathon. I was also lifting 4 to 5 days a week, and my weight had dropped to about 146 pounds. But my sleep was awful. I was extremely stressed, didn't feel good. By March of 2024, after running my half marathon, I was still frequently lifting the 3 to 4 days a week, but my weight had climbed up to nearly 160 pounds. And I was still just very depleted, low energy, poor sleep, very burnt out. Due to all of that, I found a holistic perimenopausal and hormone replacement specialist in my area. And after a deep dive into my labs and my symptoms, she put me on a whole food, high protein, high fiber diet and had me work out 3 days a week and completely stop running. I was extremely skeptical, but followed her path because I thought, what else do I have to lose at this point in my life? I also began walking daily at about 10 to 14,000 steps a day. In August of last year is when she introduced me to all of you. And ironically, the first episode I listened to was your CrossFit episode and was in tears laughing because I related very heavily to those crazy people in the box. And then between your podcast and her guidance, my approach to fitness has completely shifted to a 180. Since then, I've run your Muscle Mommy program, the 40 Plus program, and I've attempted MAPS on anabolic. But back in November when I started anabolic, and of course I don't know how to underdo things, so I did the 3-day-a-week program. The volume was too much and left me feeling depleted, worn down, and I was starting to get reoccurring injuries. I have repeated MAPS 40 plus as it has helped regain consistency and strength, but I'm still battling just stubborn belly fat and poor muscle gain, mainly in my lower leg and glute region, and struggle with flat energy. When I first started back in March of 2024, I weighed close to 160 pounds. My waist was 32 inches wide, and my hips were 39 inches. At that time when I started, I was about 1,500 calories. She has since worked me up, and I'm currently eating about 23 to 2,400 calories. I'm not chasing weight loss, but full disclosure, I'm a 90s girl. So the Kate Moss is always in my head, and I'm fighting that perception a lot. And so I'm really trying to stay away from the scale as much as possible. I've been tracking my monthly body comp with ultrasounds, and I'm consistently landing between 30 to 31% of body fat. Currently, my waist size measures 29 inches and my hips are 38 inches, and I'm 5'6" tall. I'm frustrated. I don't want to be shredded. I also don't want to be skinny, but I'd be happy to be around 27, ideally 25% body fat with more lean muscle that's evenly distributed. Just my labs, for some context, I struggle with cortisol. I have led a very stressful life in my younger years, and so I think I'm paying the price. It's low throughout the day. I've done Stephen Cabral's saliva test and the Dutch test, and they've all confirmed very low cortisol. It varies kind of with my cycle, but I tend to fall asleep easily and wake up right around that 2 a.m. time frame. And then I'm crashing midday. My free testosterone is low, estradiol has dropped, and T3 is borderline. I eat, like I said, 150 grams of protein a day. So I follow all of your guidelines on what to do. My supplements, I'm doing all the cortisol supplementation, magnesium, vitamin D3, all of the things, ashwagandha. I've even previously tried NAD plus through MP hormones. Last winter, when I did try reverse dieting, I felt like the Pillsbury Doughboy. Like if somebody touched me, I would giggle and laugh. I was in just physical pain from it. Everything I've heard and read keeps me pointing to the core issue of my cortisol. Even like I want to even try this Samorelin really bad, but everything tells me that if my cortisol is not good, I can't try Samorelin. So I'm going to keep spinning my wheels no matter how clean I eat and how smart I train. Right before my question, there has been an update since I submitted my email, because I asked myself, let's just pretend I'm on this call. What are you guys going to tell me that I don't want to hear? And so I ended up purchasing the MAPS 15 and MAPS 15 performance bundle. I haven't started it yet because I'm fighting I can do more. But I just want you to be aware that I did make the purchase. So it is sitting in my in your app waiting to be started. My goal is to build visible lean muscle, especially in my legs. Like I said, my quads, my glutes, my abs. I'm not chasing a six pack. I never care to have a six pack. I just want the flub to go away. I want to feel strong and shift my body comp without wrecking my hormones. So my main question to you, given my low cortisol hormonal profile and goal of body comp, not weight loss, what MAPS program would you recommend next? And how should I adjust training frequency or volume to support recovery, cortisol balance, and lean muscle gain without overshooting it?
Well, first, I appreciate all the details you gave us, because I think I know the right direction for you. I think MAPS 15 is the right direction for you.
I also want to point out how good you're actually really doing.
You're doing really well.
The fact that you have got all the way to here and figured this out, you've reverse dieted to 2,400 calories.
From 1,500.
You've accomplished a lot more than it probably feels like to you, so I understand how it might feel, but listening to you break that all down and the journey you've had to go through to figure all this out and where you're currently at, you're on the right track.
You're doing really well.
Well.
You went from 15 to 2,400 calories, and you lost, I think you said 3 inches on your waist with only a half an inch coming off your hips, which tells me you probably built some muscle while losing some of that belly fat, while bumping your calories almost 1,000
That's
calories.
a huge win.
You're moving in the right direction. Now, when you're dealing with cortisol, essentially you want to be gentle with your body. So MAPS 15 is the right program. And if you added anything else, it would be something like a massage once a week, or it would be gentle yoga, or something that is more nurturing, not a workout. I like massage. I think massage is
Therapeutic
great.
movement. Yeah.
Something therapeutic in that case. The only thing I would add, okay, so you're doing everything right. If you stay on this path, you follow MAPS 15, you're going to continue to see yourself incrementally progress as your body heals and as you continue to do things appropriate. So you're going to continue to progress. If you want to accelerate this, if you want to see your body start to act and move the way that maybe you remember it used to react and move, the only next step would be to do hormone replacement therapy, which is a viable option, okay? It's a viable option. You're 47. I think you're already taking, it says there, a little bit of progesterone. It would probably look like some thyroid in the morning, some testosterone, and you would continue on progesterone. And what that would do is that would bring your hormone profile back to something like you maybe had in your 20s, and you would just be much more responsive and reactive to everything that you're doing. You would still have to continue on the path, though. So what you wouldn't do is go on hormone replacement therapy and then go on MAPS aesthetic.
Resist that temptation, because it will be tempting.
You still got to do all the same stuff. But the difference is, if you do all the stuff I'm saying, minus the hormone, you're going to improve. You add hormone replacement therapy to it, you're going to improve twice as fast. Mm-hmm. So that's the question. The question is, do you want to go down that route? If so, you would go see a hormone replacement therapist specialist that deals with women in perimenopause, menopause, not your general practitioner. And it's probably going to look like progesterone, which you're probably already taking. Are you taking a pill or are you doing the cream?
The pill.
Okay. How many milligrams at night are you taking?
200.
Okay.
And I read, again, I do everything you tell me. So I'm on like Jolene Brighton's website.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
And so I'm taking it the second half of my cycle,
Right.
where the first half I don't take it to keep my estrogen normalized.
Yeah.
Smart.
Yeah. So some women do that, but when you go on full replacement therapy, what they'll typically do is have you stay on all the time. But okay, so you're already on progesterone. What they'll probably add is testosterone and some thyroid. And then testosterone and thyroid, think of those as the aesthetic hormones. Progesterone helps with anxiety, sleep, helps with those type of symptoms. Testosterone and thyroid is like build muscle, burn body fat, and energy. You notice energy with those. So that would be the only other thing I would say that you could try. But otherwise, you're moving in the right direction. And you're going to progress even if you don't do hormone replacement. It'll just take a little longer, and you're going to have to be a little bit more patient. But again, I'm going to emphasize this. If you decide to go the hormone replacement therapy route, you're going to get this signal that's going to say, wow, I could do so much more. Don't. Continue doing what you're doing, and that's the direction regardless of whether or not you go on exogenous hormones.
Okay.
Okay.
Do you have time for one more question?
I do. We
Bring
do.
it.
Awesome. So, I'm very competitive and I suffer from that. It's a bad quality to the point where why I overtrain, and I'm very impatient because I want to train for a week and see my quads just pop. So I recognize this, but one of the issues that I struggle with, so I have a bulging disc. I've had it. I officially was diagnosed with that about 2 years ago, but suffered from the pain for about 4 years. And I love to back squat. It's one of my favorite things to do. However, when I do back squat, I periodically, I deal with two issues. I deal with just overall low back pain afterwards, where it gets really tight. And sometimes from backloading, I flare up my bulging disc. So I feel like I listen to all of you of what you do. I tighten my core. I do a lot of pelvic tilt warm-ups before I even get into my squat. But I suspect my ankles may be playing a huge role in my mobility. And I just love your input on how to prevent this from the stiffness and potentially even my bulging disc from reoccurring to ensure that I can back squat in my 70s.
Yeah. We'll send you Prime Pro, and you can do the ankle mobility movements and some of the hip mobility movements. In the meantime, you can switch your backloaded squat
Like
to
Bulgarians.
Yes, to unilateral split stance exercises.
Bulgarians.
So how I tried those, but what I struggle with is the back foot placement.
Yeah.
I can't seem to get it.
I have a video that I did on our YouTube channel. Maybe Doug can look at it while we're talking, where I talk about how to set that up. Like, because people, it is one of the challenging things, and then what people do, they end up feeling it in their hip flexor and the back trail leg, and they don't feel it in their lead leg,
or the ankle is all bent funny.
Yeah, so I did a video of breaking that down.
You can also set up a bar on a rack and then put
if there's any kind of padding.
Yeah, like the squat pads that we tell people not to use. Here's what it's good for. You put it on the bar, and then you can hook your foot over it while doing Bulgarians.
We could also do lunges and reverse lunges too. Yeah. So it's like if that still is like frustrating and you just can't get it down, where it's like it doesn't feel right and comfortable, then I would just, as your trainer, I'd be like, listen, let's just do some reverse lunges or do some regular lunges, and you're going to get what you need from that too.
And a lot of times you can just add more stability by holding on to the squat rack if you need to and get in there, just because like that way you can direct, that type of force more appropriately. So that way too, it kind of eliminates a lot of the discomfort with it.
So when I'm doing the Bulgarian squat, I can actually hold onto the squat rack.
Yeah.
You could even have like what you carry. You hold a dumbbell in one side to load it, and then the other side is holding onto the rack just to help stabilize a little bit.
Yeah.
So
Perfect.
You could absolutely do that. So, but I'll have Doug send over that video so you can watch how I kind of set up for it and see if that helps. If not, and then like we said, worst case scenario, switch to lunges or reverse lunges, and you're going to get just as good of work by doing that. But I would definitely pull you until we got to the bottom of what's where the breakdown is mobility wise, and there is a good chance it's in the ankles since that's the most common area. And it's like maybe it could be too is just shortening your squat range up. I know we talk a lot about the importance of really deep squatting, but what might be happening is there might be a slight breakdown as you get below 90. And then because of the lack of ankle mobility, then it's sending the stress to the low back, where just by shortening your range of motion up, because we could do a lot of other things to keep that range of motion there. But when we back squat, maybe I, do it down to a bench.
Work on those combo
and a way
stretches.
you know that is if you do like bench squats and you feel that it doesn't bother you, that's probably what it is. Like if you just sit down on a bench, get up with load, and it doesn't bother the lower back at all, it's most likely the ankles as you get lower than 90 degrees that's causing that. So there's a few things we could do.
Perfect. Well, thank you.
You got it, Sarah.
All right,
Thanks for calling in.
All right.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Right. I'd love have Corinne reach out to her.
Yeah.
I just would like to.
It'd be interesting. You know what's interesting about, and I hope as people were listening, they pick up on this, right? Because this is a common theme, and we all fall for it, right? It's like, I bumped my calories 1,000. I lost 3 inches off my waist. I'm stronger. Why am I not progressing?
Yeah, right.
Yeah. And it's like, you are.
Yeah.
You are progressing. You're actually doing incredibly well. The other side of this too is, especially for women in that age group, no matter what you do, you are going to have a fundamental hormone shift. As healthy as you are, there's a healthy hormone shift called menopause. Yeah. That will make everything different. Yeah. That does change everything. Now, with modern medicine, so long as you're healthy, there are ways to, you could go on hormone replacement there, maintain a hormone profile like we had when you're younger. And that's an option these days. Of course, it costs money and time, and it is using modern medicine, but it is an option. Look, if you like the podcast, come find us on Instagram. You can find us at MindPup Media. Check us out. All right, I know you liked that episode. If you did, check this one out. Shredded, ripped, defined, single-digit body fat.
Yes.
You want to get there? Let's talk about it.
Difficult. And is it worth it? That's a follow-up question.
Yeah, first off, we got to say that, okay, so single-digit body fat, obviously, body fat percentages that can be represented by one digit, like 3%, 5%, 6%, 9%. That's ripped for men. For women,
add 10%.
Yeah, exactly. You go up about